So welcome to this social trading webinar. If you were watching the recorded version of this, it was held live on Tuesday, the 19th of July at 7:30 in the evening. My name's David Jones, and over the course of the next 30 minutes, I'm going to just talk through social trading, how it works, and we'll do some real examples as well. My background is in the sort of spread betting and CFD industry. I worked in it for the last 10 years and sort of left at the end of 2013 to have a bit of a break, and I've not done much with sort of spread betting or CFD companies since then. But I've always been aware of social trading, and I thought after investigating it that actually, it's something that can be quite complementary to other forms of trading or investing that we might do. But we'll get into that as we go through this evening. While I'm talking away, I'll just put up the risk warning there so you can see it. So tonight, the vast majority of tonight's presentation we'll actually do on the social trading platform. So we'll do it using real examples rather than pages and pages of slides. So if you do have any questions, feel free to, if you're here live, obviously, to send them in via the chat box that you have at your end of the webinar. The idea of social trading is straightforward enough. What we're looking to do is follow other traders and basically mimic automatically the trades that they do, and hopefully it results in a profit for us. It's been around for a while, but I don't think it's ever really taken off that much in the UK. So I started using it a few months ago and was impressed by the results and the approach. So that's why I'm doing a bit more and doing these webinars now. But for now, let's just flip over and let me show you the screen. So what I've got, doing this webinar with Ayondo, who are a company, originally a German company, that have an office in the UK, regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority in the UK, and also BaFin over in Germany. But let me just show you what I'm looking at here. So I'm going to flip my screen over. So this is a list of traders on the Ayondo platform who have opened up their trades for people to see and follow if they want to. So how it works is, if you want to just do normal spread betting or CFDs with Ayondo, you can. But really what Ayondo are is a social trading broker. So if you want to, you can open up your trades, have people follow them automatically, and hopefully profit from them. So if we scroll down, what I've got here, this is the ranking list from the Ayondo website, and I've sorted it initially just by number of followers, so we can see who the popular traders have been and are currently. So at the top we have this one, Mr. Dax. He's got 2,000 followers. Then we have Simply Trader with just under 2,000 followers. Then Halo 84, 1,096. And so it goes on. And if we stick with Mr. Dax for now, let's just go through some of the data we have here. So again, as a client, you'll be able to see all this stuff and decide what sort of people that you might want to start following. Career, there are various steps that traders can go through in terms of experience and profitability with Ayondo. The last time they placed their trade, so again, Mr. Dax is a name that crops up quite often. He's quite an active trader, and he placed his last trade 3 hours ago. This time period that we're looking at, this is performance over the last 6 months. He has had good long-term performance, but the last 6 months, I think for a few traders, has been a bit tricky. So overall, his profit and loss is down just over 2.5% over the last 6 months. Maximum drawdown, this is how much of the profit from the profit peak has the trader given back. So let's say the account had made £20,000 over the last 6 months. How much has it dropped back from that peak? The maximum amount. So in this case, just under 18%. Monthly volatility, the lower, I think the better if you want low monthly volatility. You'll see, again, you can sort of judge traders and pick traders based on their volatility. How many followers, how active they are. You can see Mr. Dax here does 107 trades on average per month compared to the one below. Simply Trader does just over 21 trades on average per month. And for me, this is always the interesting one over here, the chart. So this lets me see Well, how consistent has their P&L been? And you can see Mr. Dax had a good run, and it's maybe tailed off a little bit in recent months, but looking below, there's Simply Trader, then Halo 84, who's made over the last 6 months 22% return, which is a cracking return. Maximum drawdown is 18.5%, and there you can see the chart of the P&L. So straight away, using the platform, you get I think a really interesting snapshot of who maybe the best performing traders are, who the popular traders are, and how they may fit with your particular trading style. So let's click, for example, on Halo 84. Let's find out a bit more about this person. So we'll click through to them. So we get to see their trading profile page. So last trade was on the 19th of July. That was today at 8 a.m. this morning. Just over 1,000 followers. And it's been, that means it's been a real money trader since September 2015. So what the ayondo platform shows you, there are people who trade effectively on demo accounts, and they can show their results, and you can follow them if you want. And there are also people who trade with their own real money. So R, and R in the picture here, means this person is a real money trader. The star in their picture means they're a popular trader. So the ones who've got lots of followers will have the star next to them. So there we have the trading strategy. A PhD economist, and for almost 10 years actively trade the markets. Began to develop a trading algorithm for short-term trading, and then we have all the details there. Then we can scroll down, we can see that's the performance. So it got off to a bit of a bump in the beginning, down about 14% in the beginning, but since then has managed to turn what looks like a fairly consistent P&L. And if I want to, I can say, well, what's the performance been over the last 7 days? It's like a little bit down 1% over the last 7 days. What it's been like over the last month, it's down slightly, down 4% over the last month. What's it been like over the last 3 months? A slight profit over the last 3 months. So you can really drill down and see how their performance has been and whether it's a trader that you might like to follow. Click on transaction history. If you want to get even more detail, you can scroll through and see any open positions they've got and any positions that they got that they've closed. You can scroll back down and see all the different trades, the various trades that this individual trader has done. So there's a whole load of data there, but let's go back to the Find Top Traders page. I've got a couple of accounts that I'm running here. I did a demo account initially, so if you sign up for an account, you can run a demo for 3 months. I did a demo, not 3 months, 3 weeks, sorry. I did a demonstration account for 3 months just to get to grips with how it all works, and it made 15% in a month, but with massive swings in terms of profit and loss. And I thought, I really don't want that sort of volatility. And I think the best way to learn this stuff is to do it with real money, but to do it small. So I'll show you in a second one of the smaller accounts I've got set up just for these demonstrations, and then I've got another account running with other traders on it. But let's go. If we're looking for people to find, what sort of filters might we use? Let's click on P&L. We might want to sort people by their profit and loss. We want to find the profitable traders. So here we go. The best performing trader over the last 6 months out of, I think, 1,779 traders who make their accounts available is this one, 2016D, who's made a profit of 355% over the last 6 months, maximum drawdown of 60%, so gave back half of that and more, massive monthly volatility. It's got 12 followers and does 54 trades a month. Let's just have a click and have a look. Let's see how long this person has actually been trading for. They may only have registered relatively recently. There we go, member since May 2016. So performance since registration has more than trebled the account since then. If we look at the last month up 200% over the last month, the last 7 days 40%, up 40% the last 7 days. So it gives you a feel for what sort of things people are doing. But this person is not trading with a real account. You can see there's no R next to their name. So for me, that's one of the things that does put me off. I do tend to think, well, if you haven't got the confidence to trade with your own money, why do I want to follow you with my real money? And if we go down here, the third best performing trader over the last 6 months has been this one, Trade Goat, who you can see here from the R is a real money trader, made 186% over the last 6 months. Pretty big drawdown. Ended, well, actually that is a big drawdown, giving back almost 90% of the account of the profits. And you can see here from the chart, had a really tricky time and seems to have turned it round recently. Let's have a click on that and have a look at a bit more detail. Here we go. So performance since registration, you can see the lifetime of their account, they've lost half of the account. They've been registered since looks like April 2014, but has turned it round this year. If we look at the last 3 months, we should see something of a turnaround. There we go, a profit over the last few months. So it's so again, you could follow this trade and take the view, well, actually, it looks like maybe they've managed to turn their fortunes round and they're getting to grips with trading, and they are a real money trader, you know. But it gives you an insight into their profit or loss. And I think really it's these filters, you know, what you use to try and find people to follow. That's probably the key thing here. So I'll just flip back onto the slideshow just for a second and take you through some of the possible filters and some of the ones I use. So first of all, real money traders. So for me, if I'm going to follow them with 500 quid, 5,000 quid, 50,000 pounds, whatever, you know, I'd rather they were trading with their own money. I do have, I think, 1 or 2 people on an account I'm following who don't have real money, but I'd rather they were doing it with real money if I'm using my real money. A smooth historical P&L. My background is technical analysis. So for me, you know, I like trends. So what I want to see in an ideal world is, let's see if we can find one. Ideally, I suppose, you know, something like this one here, hopefully you can see on your chart that this is Actuarial. So something like this one here where we have a nice steady trend. You know, I think if you're trying to make 300% a year, you're going to be taking some pretty big risks. For me, in a low interest rate environment, if someone can sit there and crunch out 1 or 2% a month, that's a cracking performance. So for me, I want to see a relatively smooth profit and loss charts. That's a big thing for me. Also, a healthy P&L versus drawdown ratio. So it's all well and good if someone makes a 300% return, but if by making a 300% return they end up giving back 85% of their profits, for example, that is volatility that I really don't want. You know, for me, this is meant to be complementary to my own trading, you know, so I can have enough volatility for trading for myself. This is hopefully a slightly smoother approach to trading. So low volatility, again, ayondo do a monthly volatility figure, so you can compare that. They do put a value on that so you can see what it looks like. And so the detailed search lets you refine all this criteria. So let's just flip back and have a look, and then we'll start following some people. So we'll actually put this together and start doing it. Hold on a second, let me flip you back onto here. Here we go. So let's say, so the first thing I do, and I only tend to review this every month. I did follow some people this evening ahead of this seminar on another account, but let me show you what I want to look at is probably the last 6 months, and I want to see real money traders. So there we go. So I can filter out straight away by clicking up here people who are trading on a demo account. So I want to see people who are trading with real money. And then if I want to, I can drill down. I can go to detailed search, this tab here. So I can say, okay, show me people whose performance is between X and Y levels if I want to, whose maximum drawdown, who haven't given back more than, if I only want to say they've never given back more than 15% of their account in losses, I can do that. Clearly, it's going to limit the number of people that you have access to. Me, I'll just leave it on the maximum. Monthly volatility, you can choose to have a relatively low level of volatility if that's something that suits you. Then there are some industry standard measurements as well, like Sharpe ratio, MAR ratio. You can choose people who are popular. I'm not bothered if they're popular, I just want them to be profitable. Number of trades, if you want someone who trades 10 times a day, 20 times a day, you can have that, and all of them, and traded within the last 31 days. So again, if you'd rather people who traded recently, you can have that in there. And then it comes up with your lists, you know, based on that criteria. So there's our list, and I can flip up here and say I just want to see real money traders. Here we go. And then I can sort them by their P&L. So, for example, let's say pivot. So this pivot person, relatively early, it looks like, in their trading career, So maybe only a new addition. P&L last 6 months. Actually, let's make it last 6 months. Let's do that. Let's keep the figure constant. P&L last 6 months, 175%, which is outrageous. But has given back maximum drawdown 87%. It's given back an awful lot of the account. And you can see the volatility just in the chart of their profit or loss. So for me, I'm not really too interested, for me, to be honest, in that one. Trade Goat, again, we just looked at this one, but cracking return over the last 6 months, 173%. Massive drawdowns though, so massive volatility, and you can see the chart. So for me, turned it around, so maybe one to watch, but for me, maybe not one at the moment. But this one's interesting, Actuarial. So return over the last 6 months, 126%. Relatively low drawdown figure. Look at the drawdown figure here compared to these two up here. So it seems, quite a cautious approach. Still quite volatile month on month. And there's the P&L chart. So if I click on Actuarial, he might be one I'm interested in following. Here we go. So seems to, it doesn't really go into too much depth in the strategy. I have a linked real money account and I use proprietary indicators. I could like to keep drawdowns low and profits regular. Well, me too. And I can say, okay, well, how have you done? So how long have you been registered for? So member since October 2015. The one caution here for me, only been doing real money since this month. Yeah, so it has been trading on a demo and building up a track record, but only went live on real money July 2016. 669 followers already. The last 3 months performance looks like that, up about 40%. The last month up about just over 5-6%. The last 7 days hasn't traded, so 0%. Okay, so it gives you, quite a bit of detail. And if we scroll down, we can see things like, well, how has their monthly performance been? We want people, hopefully, who can churn profits every month. You can see one thing sticks out here, March, 71% return in March. So March, clearly something of a bonanza month for some reason. But if you took that out of the equation, still good profits, I think, in the other months. And like I say, as we know at the moment, interest rates around the world are not very much, at the rock bottom. So for me, if I can find a relatively low stress way of churning a 1 to 2% profit a month, then I am very, very happy. And it gives you details down here, the sort of markets they trade, what markets have been profitable for them, what haven't. So you can really see a lot of information. But for me, I just tend to treat them as a trend, and I want to follow sort of five traders. You can follow up to 5 on your account, and I do like to follow 5. So if I click on follow, I'd end up following him, but I've already got him. Actually, I've already got him set up on my account. So if you're following them, if you click on follow, it will then take you through to this window here. So you'll see this account, and in the best practice of Blue Peter, here's some stuff I'd done earlier. So I've already followed Actuarial, the chap we were looking at, and I followed 3 others as well. So these are both real money traders, and these are demo account traders. I thought I'd put a bit of a mix in for this evening. So I've got the 5 people in my account that I want to follow, and what it shows you then down here is theoretically, if I'd followed those since December last year, then by today I would have made 134%. Isn't that fantastic? Unfortunately, of course, in the real world, I can't go back on my account and do all those trades from December, but that's the theoretical return I'd have from following those people. And over the last 3 months, I would have made 40% if I'd followed those trades. So, and we're hoping, of course, that they carry on with a similar level of performance. So now, because I've set these up, their trades are actually live on my account. I only set this up an hour and a half ago, so I don't think anyone's actually traded yet. But before we get into that, let me just show you some other things we can do, because I'm a big fan of keeping the risk at a sensible level. I think the best, I'm quite a convert, I think, to social trading. I think it's very complementary to sort of normal trading. But I think the best way of figuring out how it works is to do it, but do it small. So what you can do is, on each of these, there's a little spanner icon. If you click on that, if this Actuarial person was the only trader I was following, and the setting was set to 1 times, what it means is, if he loses 2% on his account, let's pretend he's got €1 million account. If he loses 2%, then I lose 2% on my 500 quid account. Okay, so you follow them 1 to 1. That's how it works. And if I was really confident, I can say, well, actually, if they do a trade, I want to do 10 times the equivalent size on my account, or anything in between. It's not something I would recommend. So for me, or you can have it down to 0.5 times. So you can dial in the level of risk when it comes to copying their trades. What I do as well, because you've got 5 people, or because I've got 5 people, sorry, that I'm following, the effective risk factor is even less. With 5 traders in your portfolio, you're then following every trader with a 5th. So automatically, if it's at this level here, if Actuarial loses 1%, I'll lose a 5th of 1% because he's one of my 5 traders. And you can dial that down even less if you want to. Okay, so you can match them at half the size they're trading, or match them up to 10 times the size they're trading. So you can put a level of risk on there that you're happy with. And then as soon as you're happy and it's done, excuse me, there'd normally be a button here saying execute on live account, but I'm already doing that. And you click on it, a warning comes up, and that's it, you're away. And if I go to live account, I don't actually know, they've not done any trades yet. So this is what I've set up for this evening. So these are the traders I'm following. I only set it up about an hour ago, started following them. So my balance, 525 quid, and my there's no open P&L. I'll show you another account I've got running in a minute so you can see how it works. What you can also do, if you have an account set up, you can use this stop loss protection. Here we go. So click on that and say, right, if the balance of your account, including the open profit and losses, falls to a certain level, please close all trades. Okay, so I've put on here £250. So I'm quite happy for trades to go through, but if it falls to a certain level, a level decided by me, then please close everything. So it's like a stop loss on your account. You know, you're sort of trusting these people to trade on your account in the first place, but there's also, you can add an extra stop loss on to protect it. And if suddenly you log in and think, actually, I need some time to think about this, you can just click this button here. If I do that now, stop execution now, I've got the option to deactivate all of these live traders on my account, if that makes sense. Okay, let me show you. I've got another account that's running some trades. Let me show you what that looks like. So this is, let me flip it over. There we go. So that's another account I've been running for a few months now that you should be able to see. There we go. So that's so there's some other people I'm following in there. There's my account balance. There's the current open position of trades. I put a stop loss on of £5,200. And you can just see that because I'm doing it relatively low risk, so I'm mimicking half their size, but because there's 5 of them, it ends up being effectively sort of 0.1 of their size, and there's lots of sort of micro trades on there, and you can scroll through, you see all the open positions, and you scroll down and see any closed positions, you know. And it's one of those things, it's quite, I mean, I've been sort of spread betting and trading CFDs for a few years now, sort of 10, 15 years, but it's still quite disconcerting to see trades going through on an account that's yours and you've got nothing to do with it. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you do it, you just, I mean, I do check it once a day just to see what's going on, but because the level of risk is relatively low, you know, I think it's like you're like the team manager and you're managing a group of traders, you know. So I think it's a really interesting and complementary way of trading the markets, you know, on top of either doing it yourself or not doing it yourself. And if you want some exposure to markets, but I think like lots of people, you don't have the time or maybe the inclination to sit there and look at what markets to trade. I think it's a really interesting way of getting involved in things like indices and currencies, all this sort of stuff, but you're actually trying to pick traders to do it for you, mimic it on an account in a size that you're happy with, and run it from there. You know, I think it's a really, really sort of interesting approach. And I think, like I say, I think the best way to learn is to actually do it. You know, I think you can start following people, I think from as little as, I think, £100 in an account if you're a UK resident, or 125 if you're continental European. I think that's the best way to learn how it works. And that's it really. It is as straightforward as that. And I think for me, the beauty of it is the tools you get to find people who may suit your own trading style. You know, for me, there are a few, I think, social trading brokers out there. But the reason I like working with ayondo is I think their support's good. It's a good committed team in the UK. And it's just easy to use. It's not, I don't need a million bells and whistles. I just need to know what these traders are doing, what their performance is like, and follow them at a level of risk to suit me. So Edel Metal, he or she, sorry, is one that I've got at the moment. You can see cracking trends there in terms of profit or loss. So that's one I think I'm following on both accounts. So 137% return since registration. When was registration? It was only May this year. Okay, let's look at the last month. I think it's been a bit of a choppy month for some of these people. You can see a bit of chop over the Brexit for some of these trades, but seems to have sort of pulled it together and just does lots and lots of trades. I think quite an active trader, this one. There we go, 1,172 trades. So a lot, and there's sort of open positions. Got a few losing positions there, and scroll down to see some of the risk metrics and some of the positions that have been closed. But you can see again a cracking monthly performance. You know, May and June, well, May maybe a bit tricky, but you can follow these traders on your account with a level of cash that you're happy with and just see how it goes. And I just sit down every month, review how they've done, and if a trader looks like they've gone somewhat off the boil, they've maybe lost their mojo for a month, maybe look to swap them out for somebody else. And that's it. It's as straightforward as that. So that's really all I've got to say tonight. So if you have any questions, type them into the question box. I'll show you the screen now because clearly, of course, I've got a commercial relationship with ayondo. So for clients who come in near me, there are clients who get flagged up if they come in from a webinar I've done or come from my website. So what I'm doing is for people who go to my website and apply to the account with ayondo, I'm doing special webinars. So I'm doing, more and more webinars. So if you go to my website, the website is tradeafter.com. If you go there, there's a page I've written on social trading. So I've written some stuff like we've been through this evening on social trading, how it works. So if you don't have an account, take a look there and see. There's also, I think, a recording of the last social trading webinar, and I'll put this one up because this one is being recorded, so I'll put that one up on the website as well. But there's a bit more information on social trading and really, why for me I think it's an interesting way of trading. So that's there on my website, tradeafter.com, and I think somewhere in there we go, there's a little box to add your email address to hear about future webinars. I am doing a webinar tomorrow. I do a weekly webinar, the Market Outlook webinar. So that's at 12:30 tomorrow lunchtime. So wherever you signed up for this webinar, it should be on the same page. I think it should be on the same page as that. So 12:30 tomorrow, we're doing the social trading, not the social trading webinar, the Market Outlook webinar. So I'm doing that, and that's really a sort of traditional Market Outlook webinar, looking at major levels to watch, all that sort of stuff, where the trading opportunities may be in the days and the weeks to come. Something's gone wrong here because my screen has stopped working. Hang on a second, let me see if I can make that work. There we go, it's back now, it's all working. But like I said, there's a question coming through now. Let me just see if there are any questions. If you do have any questions after this, feel free to drop me an email, david@tradeafter.com. Trading individual stocks is with no commissions. Yes, if you trade yourself through ayondo, so you trade, I don't know, Barclays or BMW or Vodafone, because you're trading on a contract for difference or a spread bet, there's no commission. You'll normally pay a wider bid offer spread than you would in the underlying market, but yeah, it's no commission. How much do you typically make on a 500 bank using my risk parameters? Well, if I go to my demo account the first month, I made on 500 quid, it would have made about 75 quid, but with a massive swing in volatility, so it's a 15% return. If I look at this month, if I look at that account, the other account that we just showed you, I think it's at what, 5.9 now, and it was about 5,800 at the beginning of the month, so it's made a couple of percent in a couple of weeks. We're only 2 or 3 weeks into the month, aren't we? We'll see what the rest of the month is like. But for me, I've been doing it with real money for about 3 months now, and it's turning. It has turned a profit. So for me, it's all about not having massive expectations, but thinking actually, if it can sit there and make a profit month in and out or quarter in and out, it's an interesting approach to markets. Maybe a slightly more longer term, lower stress approach. And I still do my normal trade. I've got a few trades open at the moment on gold and oil and the German DAX. So I still do my own sort of trading. But I think this is quite complementary, to try and pick other traders to run a percentage of your trading account for you. Okay. That's it then. If there's no more questions, we'll wrap things up there. Oh, and there's one more question. Let's say you're following a trader and then adjusted to 2 or 3%. Are I correct to think the change will only apply to future trades? That's a very good question. Yeah, if you've only been following them 1 for 1, so if they lose 2%, then you lose 2%. If you then dial that up to sort of 2 or 3 times, it doesn't magically affect their historical performance or your historical performance. It doesn't suddenly increase your profits in the past. You're right, it will just apply to future trades. Okay, but like I say, to find out more, if you go to my website, which is tradeafter.com or jonesthemarkets.com, if you're not a client of Ayondo, if it's all a bit new to you, go to there to find out more. I do regular webinars. We're doing this webinar again probably in a couple of weeks time. Tomorrow at 12:30 we're doing the market outlook webinar, and there'll be a recording of that, and I'll put that on Twitter. But otherwise, just take a look and see what you think. And like I say, if you open an account, you get 3 weeks of a demo account to play around with. The minimum account size, like I said, is £100 or €100. So in US dollars, what's that? 150 US dollars. I don't think you can do it. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cough. Hold on a second. If you're a US resident, you can't do this. So again, the same way you can't do spread betting or CFDs if you're a US resident. I don't think you can do this if you're US, but if you're UK or continental European, then it's all fine. Oh. South African, I think you should be. Drop me an email, actually. I'll find out for you. So drop me an email to markets@jonesdc.com and let me find out for you if I can. I'm coughing here, so I'm definitely gonna wrap things up. But I'll put the recording up tomorrow, and any questions, let me know. And enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks very much for coming along.